April wrap-up and my May wrap-up. I realized when I went to go film my May wrap-up that I never did one for April, so I decided just to combine them together because I didn't read that many books in April. So here is my April and my May wrap-up. So for the month of April, I only got to read 2 books, and the first one that I read was Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I gave this book 5 stars, and I absolutely loved it. Jennifer L. Armentrout is one of my favorite authors. Her writing is fantastic. So when I realized I hadn't started this series yet, I just had to pick it up, and it was really, really good, and I can't wait to read the next one. The next book that I read was Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. I gave this book 4 stars, and I had a lot of trouble getting through it, but it was really, really good. My problem with this book was the whole first half of the book was really, really slow for me. It just took her forever to build the world, in my opinion. But once she got through the world building and everything, about towards the middle to the end, it was so good, and I just couldn't put it down at that point because I just needed to know what would happen next. So I'm really excited for the next one. In the month of May, I got to read 9 books, and the first one was Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I gave this book 5 stars. It was absolutely amazing. I finished it at like 1 or 2 a.m. It was great. It kept me up all night, and I just had to finish it. A great kickoff to summer, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't read it already. So in the month of May, I decided to read some more comic books and graphic novels. The first one that I read was Silent Warp by David Hine. I gave this one 4 stars. It wasn't the best comic book I've read, and it sure wasn't the worst. And the next book I read was Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. I gave this book 5 stars. It was absolutely amazing. Over a year ago, I had a coworker recommend me this book, and I just didn't read it because I didn't think it'd be something I'd be into or really interested in, but I finally got around to reading it. This book was hilarious. I totally recommend it to anybody who's interested in how modern romance works and just any humor book in general. This book was so, so good. The next book I read was The Exile by Diana Gabaldon. This is an Outlander graphic novel. I gave this book 3 stars. I liked the fact that it was from Jamie's perspective, but honestly, I was very confused half the time as to what was really going on. It wasn't really clear. I read Outlander and I've seen the TV show, and having both of those as like backups, I didn't understand really what was going on in a lot of this book. So I don't really think this one was for me. Next book I read was another comic book, and this was Fallen Sun, The Death of Captain America. I gave this book 5 stars. It was really, really good for comic books, and it just like wrapped up Captain America's death really nicely, and in a way a lot of people who are really big fans of him could accept, and it was just really, really well done overall. Great comic book. The next book I read was also a comic book. This was Wolverine Evolution. I gave this book 1 star. I really liked the Wolverine, but this comic book was just not doing it for me, so it gets 1 star. The next book that I read was The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. I gave this book 5 stars, and I had kind of gotten mixed reviews about it and heard a bunch of different things, so I decided to check it out for myself, and I am so glad I did. This book is probably my most favorite Rochelle Mead book. It was just so, so good, and if you love books like the Selection series or the Queen of the Tearling books, definitely check this one out because I have a feeling that you will love it just as much as I do. The next book I read was Game of Thrones graphic novel volume 1. It was okay. I gave this book 3 stars. I'd never been into the Game of Thrones world before in any books or any TV shows. I actually saw like 5 minutes of one episode, and I was like, okay, people seem to like Game of Thrones, so I'm going to give it a try in this graphic novel, and I realized that it's just not really for me, and I don't think it's something that I could ever get into, so I gave this book 3 stars. And the last book that I read is Diplomatic Immunity by Brody Ashton. This book is an ARC that I received at RT Book Lovers Convention. This book comes out on September 6th, and I gave this book 5 stars. It was fantastic. It is probably one of my most favorite books now, or maybe not the most favorite, but it's definitely in like the top 10 list. This book is amazing, so to go put it on your to-be-read list on Goodreads because this book is just so good, and I need more books like this in my life. So that is all that I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. As always, all my social media is down below in the description bar, so go check that out when you're done here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!